Hi, and welcome back to the channel. It's true, my name is Norf, and correct me if I'm wrong, change is inevitable, right? Now, I'm talking positively, of course. Becoming more and more creative is clearly a process, and one that I'm glad in my case is under constant refinement. As such, there are specific tools that I've used to help me continue to refine my creative process when it comes to creating content. So in this video, I'm going to share those three, how I use them, which by the end of this video, I'm hoping will inspire you to refine your creative process when it comes to creating your content. So, as is customary on the channel, strap yourselves in and let's get started. I've been on the hunt for quite some time to find simple yet powerful productivity tools to help me when it comes to content creation. But I need those tools to grow with me as I change and adapt. I find myself using a mix of electronic and physical mediums to capture notes and ideas, as largely this is location dependent. As my creative process evolves, as does my need to use both for different things in different places. I used to use a mix of Microsoft's OneNote and Evernote from the Evernote Corporation, but found they weren't quite there for my right-brainedness, if that is such a word. Which it is now, and you heard it first on the channel. However, I found three tools that will work for my creative right-brainedness and that will grow with me. For the way that I'm currently working and creating my content, the first one is super straightforward and is pencil and paper, one of my favorite mediums, and I'm never too far from them. Case in point. If you're new to the channel, firstly, welcome along, it's great to see you here. And second, I'm a massive fan of paper and pencil. More generally, handwriting to capture notes, sketches, and mind maps. For me, there is really something super tactile and, dare I say, old school about using paper and pencil. Personally, I love the sound and feel of the pencil as it's doing its work on paper. I also love the fact that using pencil and paper gives me much greater graphical freedom. There's also a fair bit of research that's being conducted that shows handwriting forces the brain to mentally engage with the information, improving both literacy and reading comprehension when it comes to taking notes. Not that I'm against typing to capture notes, however, for me when I'm ideating, I think and create with a pencil in my hand, or now a digital stylus using the Apple Pencil on my iPad with the Paperlight 2 matte screen protector on the screen. Next is Notion, and Notion is never too far from me. I use Notion mainly to capture notes and augment them whilst I'm out and about. I have Notion on all three of my devices, my iPad, my MacBook Pro, and my Android smartphone. I moved to Notion about 12 months ago wholesale from Evernote, and the switch was easy. Usability of the app is great, really straightforward to navigate, and like most apps, I love the fact that it's multi-platform, obviously. You can customize it for however you want to work, however in my setup it's relatively stock. I mostly use Notion to capture ideas in note form and bullets, and then where I'm able to, I'll transfer everything into one of my new favorite apps as a creative type to expand on the idea, then I build it out and refine it, which lastly is called Milanote, and I discovered Milanote about 6 weeks ago, and right now it's really helped me level up the way I create content. Being visual, it helps me to see in one view exactly where I am in my creative process. Of course, like most productivity and creative cross-platform apps, you can customize and refine your workspace to suit your needs. I specifically kept my view really simple so I can see what I'm doing and where I'm going. As you may have discovered, I get lost quite easily. In Milanote, I create my own templates, which I make once, and then at the beginning of each project, I copy them in, and they could be videos or voiceovers, it doesn't really matter. The Milanote team have also done a bang-up job at supplying a shed load of templates ready to go, depending on what you're looking to create and develop. And to give you a better idea, let me show you around my setup. My Milanote workspace is pretty clean and simple. On my homepage, I've added my True North logo and it's set up how I like it for now. The bulk of my work is done in the YouTube project board. Adding content into Milanote is actually quite straightforward, and it works on a drag and drop principle. So say for example I wanted to create a board. What we would do is select board from the elements on the left, and I would drag that into place. At which point you'll notice the elements icons have all changed. I can now select the color of the board, and I can also select the icon. Interestingly, if you give your board a name first, Milanote offers a suggestion of board icon. This is pretty neat, and can be updated as and when, of course. However, for this example, I'm going to choose this chess piece here, and I'll select my color. There we go, I'm happy with that. As soon as I drop into the board, milanote gives me the option to select a template, and as you can see, there's quite a few to choose from. Given this is a strategy board, I'll select this strategy brief template. I can either have the content cleared, or I can keep the example content and use those as a guide. Alright, so that's an example of setting up a board. Now, given the bulk of my work is done inside the YouTube projects board, let's click into that and you can see what mine looks like. I've got everything here in a really great view. I can view it once, I can see exactly where I'm at. Each of these elements here rolls up and rolls down. So this is my planning section. I've got schedule, I've got production. As you can see, creative tools I use is currently in production, which is this video. Now what I've done is I've created some templates just here. I'll drop into templates in just a second. I created a video a couple of weeks ago called So You Got the Job. And this is it here. So if I drop into that board, you're able to see the areas. These are all templated for me, and I pull them in from the templates view. If I just jump back out, what I would have done in this particular situation is, given that that's now been posted, I will move this project board from here to the posted view. But just imagine that I'm actually working on it at the moment. I like the color blue. It's akin to my true Norf blue that I absolutely love. But given this particular example, what I would have done is, if this was actually live and it was being worked on, because I've now got all of my content in this current board, what I would do is I would change the color to green to denote to me that it's currently active, and I'd move it from planning into scheduled. As it's in scheduled, I'd begin work on it and I would move it into the production area. When the video has been finally finished and it's been put into production, I would click into it and I would complete all of the elements that I need to create in here, including the publishing checklist. Once all those things were done, I would mark those off, I would jump out of the board, and then I would move this into the posted board. And just with that simple, clean view, I can see exactly what's going on at any one time in my project. So let's have a look at the templates that I've built. So if I drop into templates, here I've got my templates in a nice, easy view. The B-roll checklist I added a little bit earlier today, actually, just because I noticed it was missing. But let's say I needed to add something else, like A-roll, for example. So in my workflow, I would want this to be a checklist. I would take a to-do list over here, drag it in, drop it on top, and then start adding some text. Item 1, item 2, and just as you see here, milanote has asked me, do I want to add a title? I can either say no, or in this case, I want to say yes. And here I will put A-roll content. Now, because that's in the template, every time I create a new project, I would simply drag the template into the new project. So let's do that. Let's grab a board, and I will put this board just here, and let's give this board a name. And there we go. milanote has actually colored it for me. If I'd like to keep the color orange, I could do that, but actually I'm going to change that to blue. And then what I'll do is copy the content of the template board, Command A on a Mac or Control A if you're on a PC. That allows me to select everything. Command C or Control C to copy to clipboard. And then obviously Command V or Control V to paste the templates. Moving between milanote and Notion for me is seamless, considering both leverage the de facto actions like copy-paste, for example, working on both iPad and Mac, and this is super easy. I may consider moving from Notion at some point, but not just yet. As I say, my creative process has seriously leveled up since using both Notion and milanote. At the time of creating this video, only a few days ago, the milanote team just released the full-blown iPad app, and my first impressions are great. However, I still feel it needs a little bit of refinement, which of course will come in time. However, right now, this is a huge, fantastic step. Of course, I also use Notion and milanote on my S21 Ultra, and all synchronizes really well. I tend to use my S21 to view the content in milanote, and no doubt if I need to, I can add content if needed. However, I prefer to do the bulk of my work using my iPad, or better still, my MacBook Pro. Lastly, one of the beauties of using milanote is that it's been built with team collaboration in mind. Its online synchronization features are superb, which make it great for collaborating if you need it. And that's it. Those are the 3 creative tools that I'm using at the moment. Pencil and paper, my weapons of mass creation, Notion and milanote. However, I'm curious. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. What creative or productivity tools do you use and why? Do drop a comment below and let me know. And that's it for this week. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time here. You may know that I'm a massive fan of the number 3, so if you would, please do 3 things for me. If you like the content, please do give me a thumbs up. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on when I upload brand new content to the channel. Again, thank you for choosing to spend your time here, and I'll see you next time.